Yo, every day, Superpower signing in once again. We're talking game, relationships, attraction. This would even be good from both sides. Generally I tend to speak to the men. I mean, that's the world I live in, so that just tends to be the way it is, and that's that's the main demographic upon this channel. All right, so I speak to you generally, but this definitely applies across the board as well. So women can apply this, although women, you know what you're doing. You don't need nobody on YouTube telling you how to do things. All right, but I'm welcoming of everyone. Yes, now. So links in the video description. One will take you to a playlist which will cover the entire body language. I call it the body language dictionary because I go from A to Z, top to bottom of everything you need to know to be able to read somebody just by looking at them, whether they're doing something or nothing. You'll be able to understand their state of mind. Second, I got a link to the Patreon where you will join me on watching real life dates in real time between two organic people having an organic relationship, potentially communicating with each other, and I'll show you what's good, what's wrong, what's bad, and you'll be able to internalize that. And between you and me, you're going to learn information nobody else is going to teach you on this channel. Right, now, moving on. I got some game. I'm going to ask you a question, yeah? I'm going to ask you a question. What have you got which is special? What have you got which is big? What have you got that is massive? Alright, what are you on about? That sounds ridiculous. Yeah, it is ridiculous, because I'm asking you not only in the characteristic sense, but quite potentially in the physical sense as well. It is that bold a statement in the question. What have you got that is big and bold, and honestly, better than the majority of the people around you, alright? Because bada bing, bada boom. That's something that makes you special, and that's something you can highlight, and something you should highlight. Okay? If you want to be a special individual, if you want to be more attractive, if you want to have something that others can appreciate as part of who you are as a person. Now, here comes the battle. You don't want to overcompensate. Well, I know what you mean, everyday superpower. I have a larger-than-life sense of humour. You know what? I know what you mean, everyday superpower, because I've heard that I have a fantastic smile and I have great teeth. Oh, I know what you mean, everyday superpower, because women love my height, alright? Fantastic. So you've clocked onto something through your own pattern recognition, whether you be limited with the women or whether you be quite frequent with your engagement and communications with women. You've come to an idea that there is something there which is special because you've been told once, if not twice, that it's a good thing, right? Or maybe, if you're quite limited with your communications, you've seen across the internet or through, what the media promotes as, particular aesthetic ideals and what women would want and so forth. You think, you know what, I've got that. Okay, so why don't we start to enhance it? Why don't we start to put that forward? All right. Oh, women love the size of my arms. They're attracted to my arms. I train all the time, and I've got good-looking arms, and women love that. All right, so let's continue going to the gym and make them even bigger and enhance them, and let's make, our wardrobe a complete reflection of that particular fact. Now, let me go back. Without overcompensation, we don't need to walk around like a caricature of ourselves wearing super, super small t-shirts in order to do so, because it'll start to look a little bit comedic, right? When it comes to, oh yeah, women love my height because I'm 6'5". I tower over all these other men. Women look at me and their biological urge screams to procreate with me because I look like I have great genetics to give to offspring, right? You don't need to talk about your height 24/7, alright? That's your genetic makeup. Like, have you got no more substance? So we don't want to overcompensate, but we want to highlight. How do you highlight your height even more so? potentially wearing high heels in your relationship, you know what I mean, big sturdy boots and so forth, might enhance and further create emphasis on your positive, bold traits who make you you, but also might detract and become a little bit try-hard and a bit freakish in doing so. You see where I'm coming from? Now, for some, psychologically speaking, there may be a block, and I'm going to bring a little bit of myself into here. I'm an introverted person, so I prefer to communicate indirectly as opposed to directly through the enhancement of my highlights. I like to give insight into the fathoms of what exists as opposed to put it out on a platter first and foremost and full, because I feel a bit uncomfortable being the center of attention. That's not me. I like to blend in. I mean, I like to be special and have something about me, but I'm not a peacocking sort of person. That's just in my nature. So I understand it's not for everyone to go out there and really highlight something outrageous and run with it. But it's not going to do you any harm by being aware of what makes you special and puts you above and before everyone else. When we look at marketing, let's look at products, right? One burger might not be as healthy as the other burger, but if you highlight the fact that that burger is tastier, then people will sort of overlook the nutritional value and think, you know what, that's the tastiest burger. Or if it's a bizarre looking, you know, have you seen the burgers with black buns and stuff like that, as opposed to like your typical bun? They're like different colour, odd colour burgers and so forth. They might not be the most nutritious and they might not be the tastiest, but they have a novelty to them and they have their own unique aesthetic appeal, and they highlight that and market themselves out to be like that. So there is a crowd who will choose them purely through the accentuation of that bold characteristic. That can be you. What sort of burger are you? What do you put out there? And like I said, it's there's characteristic, there's absolutely anything. Have you got a great way with words? Because this doesn't necessarily just span within attracting women or attracting men or so forth. This could come with you attracting a crowd, a business, a network. This can be your means of becoming a success and putting yourself on a pedestal where you could just become larger than life. So you really need to look inwards, and I want this to be a really powerful message I'm putting forward. I want you to look inside, because I don't care whether you spend 23 hours in your bedroom, all right, being a troll, just being completely cavernous, involuntary, in celibacy and all this and that, no faith, depressed and so on and so forth. I'm speaking to you and saying there is something about you which is incredibly special, alright? Most definitely, because we only have 24 hours in a day. We've got a very limited lifespan, and you have had a path in life that nobody else has had, as to where you've picked up certain characteristics, techniques, maybe a sense of humor, maybe an understanding on a particular topic and subject and so on and so forth, that you can weaponize into being incredibly attractive. All right. Now, let's say, for example, I like horror films, yeah, or at least when I had time to watch horror films, I loved horror films. I had a morbid fascination with like exploitation films, horrible films, right? Low budget, independent horror films that sort of went out of their way to be controversial, and that sort of applied itself in my life through my music taste and so on and so forth. I liked counterculture and things that, sort of ran with my introverted personality. I never was the most popular person, and in doing so, I was proud of being quite an independent person, and I found interest within art form that reflected that. I liked counterculture and sort of rebellious and anarchist art forms and so on and so forth that went against the social and cultural norms. I can't go on a date and say, oh yeah, I'm into, films of this nature, because I like some extreme films. Don't get me wrong, they're all legal films, right? But I liked controversial films and media and so forth. So it would be outside of my it wouldn't be good for me to put forward, the conceptual basis and the literal emphasis on what I liked to consume, at least as a teenager, as an edgy teenager, right? It wouldn't have been good, because I know with a very little amount of social sense that the woman's probably going to look at me and think, what a weirdo, why is he interested in that? I disconnect with that because I'm not interested in that. There's no familiarity. But whereas if I generalize it and say I absolutely love independent media, I'm interested in it because it goes against the social norm, and I'm into taboo and stuff like that, then we can start to sort of ease around the topic and influence into someone looking at us as we are, but opening the imagination. Oh, I wonder what he's interested in. Always into independence, always into taboo and so on and so forth. I wonder to what degree. And there is a sexual knockoff when it comes to that and so forth. So you don't have to. And this is just me speaking generally on a train of thought in relation to someone who has spent 23 the last 25 years in their bedroom, 23 hours a day in their bedroom, just interested in like the most insane stuff. You don't have to go forth and say, oh yeah, are you into, the most violent gore of all time and so on and so forth. No, but you can, highlight your differences in a more subtle way. You can be softer around the edges because you are so bold that it might be, too over empowering in that sense. But what makes you special? What is big about you? What is big about you? Have you got a big sense of character through whichever means? I know people who might not be the funniest person, but have the most contagious laugh. I know an old head, yeah? He's in his 60s, and he's got a family, and he's still fending off the women because he brings joy to the hearts of those women. He brings joy to the people around him because he has the most infectious and loud laugh. And it's a real staple part of his character. I've known this person for a moment, and when I think of him, I think of his laugh straight away because he helps you feel good through his reaction and through his joy in relation to certain little things and so forth, and you can't help but feel that in regards, and women pick up on that, and women love being around him because of that. Alright, whereas I know someone who's a little more stubborn, someone who may be classified as an alpha male, alright, but women love him because he is sturdy, he stands firm, he's like an oak tree, he's bold, he's absolutely incredible of a man, he is masculine, and that counteracts the femininity and creates this perfect dance of feminine and masculine, and in a way manifests this image of what the child is told to love through Disney films and Prince Charming and so on and so forth. Also, in correlation to this large stature man who doesn't go around cracking jokes and being the life of the party, and he's not a clown of any sorts, he is got incredible stature, and he knows that. He doesn't walk around in baggy clothing and so forth. He wears shapely outfits which accentuate what he's got, alright? And if women aren't coming up to him, what they're doing is definitely looking at him because he has a large presence, and in a way he's unavoidable through the beacon of light he projects through what makes him special, you see? So in a way, look at yourself as a lighthouse, yeah? And if you want to be seen, you need to find your light, and you need to switch it on, and you need to project it, whether it be spoken or not, alright? Anything can be utilized in this manner. Of course, some people might actually be turned off by what makes you you. So when I refer to the person with a loud laugh, yeah, you get used to it. But initially, sometimes you can't be asked. But I'm speaking in regards to a man, alright? And who am I as a man to say that man having fun winds me up because he's always laughing so loud. That's only going to send more women his way, you know, because he's a leader of men. He's creating envy within men. Now, don't get me wrong, it's down to me being a little bit annoyed, but I'm annoyed at his joy. I'm annoyed at how he, you know, lights up a room for other people. You see where I'm coming from? So there may be conflict with it, and that's what comes with this, when I spoke on the introversion and not necessarily wanting to be the center of attention. You have to be able to deal with the downsides that come with it, i.e. more than likely envious men who are jealous of your shine. Alright? But some may say you want to dull your shine to ensure you don't step on the toes of others, but some may also say in certain particular circumstances you shouldn't allow others to dull your shine. It's completely up to you, your circumstance, and where you are at that moment in time. As we know, you know, maybe outshining the boss, you know, your superior, the one who holds the purse strings, or you know, the power of life or death, and so on and so forth. It might not be in your best interest to outshine them in any way, alright? It might be not in your best interest to laugh so loudly at their partner's jokes, alright? Sometimes you might need to nullify that behaviour, but we're not talking about that. We're talking about what do you have that's special, because you do have something that is special. You might just have to look into it, and not only look into it, if you feel that overall you're a little bit of a well-rounded average person, you might have to look at what you can enhance, what you have, what you possess that you can enhance, alright? So, I'm going to leave that one there. What have you got? You've got something that's bold, you've got something that's big, alright? You know where I'm coming from. It can be anything, okay? If you learn to weaponize it, you can have your way. With the women, you can be very popular. You can build a cult if you wanted, you know? It's incredible stuff. You can do exactly what you want to do. You can become very popular, very successful. You could be a leader through one particular characteristic of who you are that others may want, or what others are magnetized to, because they won't possess the qualities you have as an individual autonomous human being. Alright, we all have different genetic makeup, we all have different psyches, we've all had different experiences coming through as to where we've overcompensated in certain areas. Now, we don't want it to seem as overcompensation, but we might have had to do so in the face of, you know, a defense mechanism. I mean, I've looked into myself every once in a while, and I feel my understanding and my knowledge on body language and reading people's nonverbal communication, that must be a defense mechanism of such, because I had to defend myself and know, you know what I mean, whether somebody was being funny with me or not, just through past experiences. So utilize it as a positive, you know. You might come from a background where you've had to pick up things and learn things in defense, just through survival mechanism, but you can now use that in the realm of attraction and being a great, bold person. And on that note, I'm signing out. Have a think. What is it that makes you special? Put it out there into the world, you know, step on some toes and attract some attention to yourself, alright? You've got one life, and it'll be over in the blink of an eye. So don't allow it to fizzle out, and don't hide it, alright? Peace.